Happy New Year. You've survived, and I'm glad you're here. This will be very short because I know you're busy. Lots of things going on New Year's Day. Some of it's recovering, but we won't go into that. How do you approach this year? Some of you are really meticulous about this, and you'll do resolutions and you'll lay out a plan, and others have no plan at all. And quite frankly, that's both fine, absolutely fine. But I would like to give you one lens or one metric or one way to kind of judge your reactions and actions in the new year. You judging, not anybody else judging, and you don't judge anyone else. This is just for you. This is just for us as individuals, all right? And that's this. Hebrews 12:1. Because we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let's lay aside the weights that hold us back and run this race. Run it well. Have a look at that. And then take a look at John chapter 1 and his whole beginning of that amazing gospel with the light and darkness motif or theme that he will run throughout his works. So, what is that? Well, in Hebrews 12, he is using, or she, we don't know who wrote the book, is using a sports crowd metaphor. The term used for the people in the Colosseum that were watching the sporting event or gladiatorial combat was the cloud of witnesses. By the way, just little nerdy history thing. We get this all wrong. You know, if the emperor puts their thumb up, the guy lives, thumb down, they die. It was actually the other way. They would do this as don't kill him or kill him. So probably important if ever you find yourself being a Roman emperor. But let's move on. We have a cloud of witnesses. Who are they? Chapter 12 in Hebrews goes further to say that all of the saints that have ever gone before us are with us whenever we gather to worship. For example, when we take communion, they are all there. I'm taking communion with my mother, even though she passed a month and a half ago, every Sunday, because she's there. Now, I don't believe necessarily that these beings are watching over us all the time. I don't know that that's their job. But the metaphor is a good one. How are you going to make the crowd react with the decision you're about to make? If it is, for example, you take a look at your finances and you say, I think we could save a bit more and I think we could give a bit more. I imagine that would please the cloud of witnesses. But if it's something different, if you're deciding you're going to go to Vegas and gamble away mama's inheritance, I'm not planning to do that. I don't think the crowd would cheer. And that's really all I really want to talk about today, and just for a couple minutes. When you do an action, are you making heaven cheer? Or are you making the other team cheer? Now, quite frankly, a huge amount of decisions we make are not in those camps. Deciding to wear this sweater today, I don't think made anybody cheer or anybody boo. I don't think it did. Anyway, deciding to buy the car that I bought and have racked up 60,000 miles on it already because I get to come see you, and I would love to. So if you've not been seen and you would like for us to come visit you in your house church, or just write us, info@oursafeharbor.com. But choosing that particular vehicle, I don't think made heaven cheer or Satan cheer. But the way I treat my wife at the end of a day, or the way I treat a poor person who needs some help, or the way I decide what to do with that $10. Forget about what you would do if you won the lottery. We're talking about what you would do with what you've got. Or deciding whether you needed to add to your stuff or to simplify your stuff. More about that next week. So that's it for today. And just don't let this judge you. Don't let this guilt trip you. Don't let this bring you down at all. It's just a tool to kind of help when you're on the edge about a decision. But it also helps us be aware of our decisions. As we all know, if we don't pay attention to what we are buying and where we're going, the money seems to disappear. So we kind of need to pay attention as to what are we doing with this, and be careful with this. Well, we need to do that with our emotions and our responses. Let's say a car repair guy I think is kind of ripping me off. How do I respond? if I decide to go in all guns a-blazing and yelling and screaming, making sure that anybody in the waiting area never wants to be a part of any church that I'm a member of, I'm making the wrong side of the Coliseum cheer. Let's make the correct side cheer. It takes practice. It's discipline. You're going to get it wrong. I do too. You've even seen me get it wrong, I bet. I can't think of any examples right now, but see, that's the problem. We sometimes don't even know that we've made the wrong side cheer. It's just an awareness. Can we be aware? And then share. Share this with others. Because it is quite obvious that this world needs outposts of heaven that are walking around, and instead of giving people hell, we give them heaven. We're going to make the correct side of the Coliseum cheer. Happy New Year.